welcome back to another episode of the Corner of Craft podcast. Slight different angle change today because my hand-dyed yarn wall is looking a little bit empty. So you got the stash back in its amplitude. That's not the word I want. I've got a lot of it. So today is April the 11th. And yes, so this is the Corner of Craft podcast. It is a knitting podcast predominantly. Also, we discuss tea quite a lot, and I talk about the weather probably too much because I'm British, and that's just what we do. As I've already said, my name is Hannah. I'm coming at you today from a very cold, not very cold, slightly chilly, but bright and sunny Nottingham in the middle of England, even though to us southerners it is technically the north, but to everyone else it is not the north, it's the Midlands. It's the north. Yes, if you'd like to find me on social media, you are more than welcome to. I am the Corner of Craft in most places. Links to all of my social media can be found in the description box below. I am a yarn dyer. I have a line called Chromatic Yarns. It's yarns dyed in colours inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, because huge nerd alert. And also I make tiny beaded stitch markers and sell them under the umbrella of the Corner of Craft. So Chromatic Yarns is just like the Corner of Craft's yarn line. So it's Chromatic Yarns by the Corner of Craft. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. My tea is too hot. I'd like to drink my tea, please. So how have you all been? It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? Last time I saw you was Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I had a really lovely time. I had such a good time at EYF. I always do. I mean, it wasn't quite the same because Becky wasn't there. It's the first year that my partner in crime, that's the word I want, wasn't there with me. Becky, who is Soprano Knits and hostess of the Stringing It Together podcast, and she wasn't there, and that's real sad, but it did force me to wander around by myself for a bit, which meant I got to meet and chat to more people, which is nice. So yeah, while she was sorely missed, I made sure I didn't walk around miserable the whole time, because otherwise that's just not fun. And I did quite a lot of damage. Some of it is just up here. Actually, most of it's just up here. Some of it's just here. But if you watched my Edinburgh Yarn Festival vlog, I have the haul in there, and that shows you everything that I got, so I don't have to go through it again. If that makes sense. Right. I just realised that one of my acquisitions is in the wash, so you can see that next time. Tea. Let's get that out of the way first. So I got a lovely message from Chris, who is one of the founders of Bird and Blend. You know that I'm a huge fan of Bird and Blend tea. You know I've been ranting and raving about how awesome they are for such a long time, and I know that I have influenced some of you to go and buy their tea before. So I got sent a message saying that they wanted to send me a little box of tea. You see, I was going to put it back together, but I'm not going to. So they've sent me this tea. They sent it to me on no grounds of me having to share it or anything. I'm doing this off my own back. I'm not being paid for this. This is just... So for Easter, they have a tea stir gift box that has 5 different types of tea in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Some of them I haven't tried yet. Some of them are firm faves in our house already. It comes in such a cute little box that will be used for many other things. I'm not sure what yet, but it will be used for something. Maybe if I do gift something to someone, they will get it in a nice little box. Let me put my phone down. I don't need it. So you get 5 different types of tea. So the ones I haven't tried yet, or the one I haven't tried yet, is Cherry Lips, which is a green tea, and I imagine it's supposed to taste like the The ones that you get in Pick and Mix, the little lips that you get in Pick and Mix. So I'm quite excited for that. You get carrot cake, which we already have a massive bag of, so it's not been opened yet. Mario loves this one, and it's a caffeine-free tea, which is very useful for him, seeing as he goes to bed before it's dark outside now. And then we have hot cross bun. Now this one we weren't so keen on. I believe I got it last year as well and wasn't overly enthralled, but we tried it again this year and it's still not our favourite. It is perfectly nice, but of the 5, or of the 4 out of the 5 that we've tried, this is our least favourite, but it's still perfectly nice. Hot cross buns are an Easter staple here in the UK. I know they're not a worldwide thing. They're just like a spiced currant bun. They're very tasty. Then there is chocolate digestives, which I love and was going to buy some more of even before she messaged. So I might have to buy a 50-gram bag of this because I love it so much. It's perfect for people like me that love chocolate and have intense chocolate cravings. And then they've got Easter egg nests, which, oh, I've blasted through this one. It's what I'm drinking right now. Also perfect for people that have intense chocolate cravings because it's so chocolatey, because it's got cocoa shells in, like roasted cocoa shells, and I've had pure cocoa shell tea before and it's just like drinking a hot chocolate. It's so chocolatey. So this is so good. This is my fave. This I may also have to buy a larger packet of. But if you wanted to get your hands on any Bird and Blend tea, they have been super sweet and kind enough to give a discount code for me to share with all of you. So it's 20% off all tea and matcha and tea bags. If you use the code HannahTeabird20 or just Hannah Teabird. There was a bit of confusion in the beginning because I was told Hannah Teabird and then that didn't work, and then but both work now, so it's Hannah Teabird20 or Hannah Teabird. I'll pop it in the description box below. This is completely unsponsored. It is not affiliate in any way, shape or form. It's just them being super nice, and I will probably be using my own discount code to get some more tea. Not that I need it, because I definitely don't, because we have a cupboard full of it and I'm trying to work through it, but I like having variety. Variety. Anyway, so that's the tea I'm drinking this morning in my Sass and Bell mug. I've had like 5 teas today. 4. I've had 4 teas today, so my cup's looking a little stained. I probably should have cleaned it before this, but meh. I oversteeped it, I think, but it still tastes incredible. Because I thought I set the timer for 4 minutes, and so I did some washing up while it was steeping for the 4 minutes, and then I was like, the buzzer went off, and I was like, that couldn't have been 4 minutes, so I left it whilst I was setting up for the podcast. But yeah. The top that I am wearing today, once we get into knitting, I'm not going to stand up because my jeans aren't high rise enough and the top is cropped. So I had the thing done up, so there was no risk of me showing my belly roll to anyone. Note to self, next time I knit one of these, just knit it just I don't know, an inch longer, and then that would be fine. But this is the Boardwalk blouse by Amy Apple. I used KnitCRATE yarns the May and June months, I think. So one is a non-superwash, that's the grey, like Peruvian wool, which is like a mild grey, and then the yellow is just really nice, and it's just a little short sleeved. I finished it, oh there's my bra strap. I finished it and then autumn happened, so I've not actually been able to wear it, but I've just thought I'd fling it on for the podcast, and I'm just going to do my zip back up just in case I stand up at any point and don't want to flash my belly roll to anyone. So that is what I'm wearing. And I do really like it. I do want to make another one of these. I also am desperate to get a pair of dungarees. I really, really, really want a pair of dungarees. I've only tried on one pair of dungarees before and I think they weren't big enough for me. And then I kind of stormed out in a huff because I don't like to admit that I'm putting on weight. So they didn't look the most flattering, but I just need to find like a high-waisted-ish pair that I can wear tops like this under, and then I could knit some more. perfect 2 skein crop top. Although for the main colour I had to dip into a second skein of the main colour, so 2.5 skein crop top. But if you were making it all out of one colour, you could definitely do it out of 2, guaranteed. Right. Let's try to remember how to podcast. I've not made notes because I'm the best. Yeah. So I just had a very quick look on Ravelry as to what I was working on before. So I will start with a tale of woe for my sexy boob top. So, as some of you may recall, I was knitting a So Faded out of all of my Tits Out Collective yarns that I bought. And I bought them with the intention of being a So Faded. And I had just started, or I was just about to go into the 3rd colour. Then I went to the hairdressers the next day and got my hair did. It's faded quite a lot now and is a complete mess because this is my life now. Exist in a state of slight disarray constantly, but it was really nice pink and purple for EYF, and then I've had some hot showers, so it's faded quite a lot and I need to re-dye it. But pastel for spring just needs redoing. Yes, and so I worked on my sexy boob jumper for ages during my hairdressing appointment, and then Caroline of Dundernet asked how it was going, and I said I think I hated it. And then I laid it out on our dining room table and I took a picture of it from above, looked at it and was like, oh yeah, I definitely hate it. There's a picture of it on my Instagram if you are curious in seeing what it looked like. Caroline described it, hostess of the Knitting Vicariously podcast, I can't remember if I said that. Caroline described it as looking like a bean, like somebody had spilt beans across the middle one, just because of how the yarn was pooling and flashing, which is an ironic term considering I'm referring to it as my sexy boob jumper. But yeah, I don't really want a spilled beans jumper, so I completely frogged it, and those balls of yarn are in timeout while I think about what they can be. I had to think about what they did to me. They had to chill out and they just had to calm down. But I finished finally in time for EYF, and if you saw my vlog you would know this, and if you saw various other people's vlogs you would know this, especially if you saw Grace of Babbles Travelling Yarns, Babbles Yarns, on her Saturday EYF video, because I was a little bit drunk at the end of it and was showing this off full pride, filling my heart. But yeah, I was 4 ciders in at that point, so please forgive me. I'd already taken the girls in the Yarn Cafe in Salapalooza to the complete wrong town, so I died of embarrassment and drank to overcompensate. But I finished my vaulted shawl, finally! People thought I finished it in my last video in the thumbnail because posing. But I have actually finished it. So this is the vaulted shawl by Sue Stratford, and it was my first Intarsia project. The yarns that I used are all by Rusty Ferret yarns. So the grey colour is Quarantine, the black is Static, and the yellow is Sunbeams, and it's so neon, it's amazing. Can I do this? Yeah. It's my first Intarsia project that I've ever done, and I now know that Intarsia is actually not difficult in the slightest, because it's not. You just have to ignore the tangling yarns, as I said in my previous podcast. Just let them do their thing and untangle them every now and then. I had to knit this during D&D so I could actually get it done and dried and blocked and dried and everything. It kind of matches what I'm wearing, so it's not ideal. I still don't fully know how to wear it. I just kind of fling it on and see what sticks. And then I pretend I think I look really cool, so that's always a good thing. But nobody knows that it's a light, so it's quite nice. And then you can be like, oh, a lightning bolt, you don't know what one of those is? Well, let me demonstrate. KA-BLAM! It's so cool. It's like a proper, you know, Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane kind of chubby. I can't remember which one it is. Come on, Hannah. Defo Ziggy Stardust, isn't it? Or is it Aladdin Sane? Oh, I'm disappointed in myself. Yeah, it was a slog at the end. I won't lie, not because it's hard, but because you have to follow the pattern. I believe I mentioned this last time. It's been too long between podcasts, I don't know. And my hair is all over it because I've just put it on, and therefore I'm molting, because I molt like nothing else, especially now the weather's warming up. Yeah, you have to constantly refer to the pattern, so it's a bit of a slog. But I am so pleased I knit this. And I now want to make kits for the shop. So probably need to knit another one out of my own yarn to use as a sample. I'll give it a bit of time first. But yeah, it looks so good. I'm so excited. So that is my first and only finished object, because the sexy boob jumper got frogged. So when I went to Edinburgh, I didn't take any bead weaving with me, because why do you want to take work on holiday? So I didn't take any bead weaving with me. And it meant that I got loads of knitting done. But it also means that when I've been back, I've been catching up and haven't been knitting as much, which is sad. But I decided today, last night, when I was laying there unable to sleep, because you know when you're trying to sleep and like your brain is racing and you're just panicking about everything and nothing, I decided to not bead as many stitch markers as I wanted to, or that I was originally going to for the shows I've got coming up, and actually half the amount I wanted to make, because it makes so much more sense. Anyway. Oh my goodness. So let's have a look at a whip you've seen before. These didn't come to Edinburgh with me because they are socks for Mario, and I knew that I'd be able to complete them, but needed his feet there to measure them on. So the other night we were watching The Dirt on Netflix, which is really, really good if you're into Motley Crue. I'm heavily into my 80s metal. I usually wear a plethora of band t-shirts, although I had to throw loads of them out when I was working at a coffee shop because I wore holes through them in the front from leaning against the counter and my button would wear through. But yeah, and so I tried the sock on him and thought it was time to start decreasing, so did, found off the toe and threw the sock at him and was like, can you try that on please? And then he hadn't put the sock on his foot properly, had he? So it was too small. So I had to rip it out and do it again. And I'd completely woven in the ends and everything. I was not happy with him. But I dealt with it and it's now complete. Sock 1 is complete. I did a new depth heel because it is my favourite heel, even though Mario does not have a high arch. Mario's my fiance for those that don't know. Mario does not have a high arch like I do. I've got a bizarrely high arch. So I just increased by, I think, only 1 stitch. If that. Yeah, I increased by 1 stitch and then knit the heel, just so there was a little bit extra. And it's a ribbed sock anyway. So I am using 2.5mm needles. I've cast on 72 stitches. I did 2x2 rib for 15 rounds and then switched it to 3x1 rib for the leg because that fits him the best. So I was knitting these when we went on holiday to Sicily and I'd cast on the wrong amount of stitches on the plain, so then once I got to the heel I had to rip it back to the beginning again. So it's a little bit bobbly at the top because the wool was bobbly and uneven, but the yarn that I am using is Chromatic Yarns. It's going to look a little bit like the Chromatic Yarns show, just so you know. Is Chromatic Yarns, which is my own hand-dyed yarn, on the sturdy sock base, which is 75/25 BF Superwash Blue Face Leicester and nylon, and this colorway is called Pseudo Dragon and it's so cool, and that's what it looks knit up flat. It's just got some dark brown speckles and then it's like a reddy pinky colour with some oranges and yellows, and it's just quite fiery. Yeah, and so I'm knitting sock 2. I got some of it done yesterday because I met up with some of my friends for brunch, and got some of it done on Saturday because I was day drinking with a bunch of 20-year-olds, which made me feel very old, but got, you know, some of my sock knit because I'm now old enough and confident enough to be able to be in front of a group of kids in their early 20s and knit. So self-assured. It's when you can maintain eye contact as you knit and it really freaks them out. I don't know why I've just started doing this. I know why, because I was halfway through a round and I wanted to finish it. But I hadn't knit Mario a pair of socks in ages, and he wears them a lot. So it was high time for him to have a new pair. I was just super annoyed about, I'm just kind of annoyed at knitting these now, just because the toe went wrong, or the toe was wrong, and then, well, first of all the stitch count was wrong, so I had to rip it back, and then the toe was wrong, so then I had to rip it back, and then it just seems like one thing after another. But he's tried on the finished sock and he says it fits. So here's hoping they actually do. But yes, the little stitch marker I've got to keep me company is a little dragon. This one is a second because one of the beads is broken. One of the beads is broken, and I obviously don't want to sell ones with broken beads. It sometimes just happens. It's usually when I'm really tired and I try to force a needle through a bead that it won't go through, and then the bead snaps. So it's completely my fault as the maker of the stitch markers, but it means I get to keep them. So yeah, this little guy has a broken bead. It is on this side, but you can't really see it. It's one of these ones. So yeah, he's keeping me company as I knit. This is my current travel knitting. It's living in my new Pleistra bag, and whenever I go I can just walk along and knit, and oh my god, I love that bag so much. I've used it loads. Oh, I'm so excited. Right, while we're talking about socks, let's just keep on the sock train. You'll see why I laughed in just 1 second. So the sock train. I'm gonna have a sip of tea. When I was on the train on the way back from Edinburgh, I wanted to cast on a sock, so I did. That's why I laughed at sock train. Elizabeth of, I think it's probably technically meant to be Elizabeth, but for she is Norwegian and so beautiful. It's just not fair. Anyway, she released a sock pattern just before EYF called Sockness, and she had it as a free download. And I think for a limited time, and I think that's a pay for pattern. So I decided to snag it while it was a free download, and I'm knitting it. So I cast it on the train from Edinburgh, and this is where I'm at. It's been a good chunk of time since. So it's just a really nice, it's an easy to remember pattern. So it's just got this fun little cable down it, and it's got these little lacy eyeletty bits down it. And see, yeah, that's it. So I've put in a new depths heel. This isn't the pattern, the heel of the pattern. I can't remember if I said. New depths heel is a pattern by Becky Sorensen. It's great. I do feel like I should have increased a little bit more. I'm using 2.25mm needles, and it's a 64 stitch sock. I feel like I should have done a couple more. I increased my heel by 6 stitches, but I feel like I should have done them a couple more. But hopefully there's a bit of ribbing and the eyelets, and there's a bit of increasing decreasing that happens in the sock, so hopefully that will give it that extra stretch that it probably might need. The stitch marker that I'm using is by Tiny Sugar. and is the cutest little hot cross bun in the world. See, I don't just use my stitch markers, I do also use other people's. Because I can't beat a hot cross bun, but I can eat them. So the yarn I'm using is chromatic yarns once again, because I decided I need to knit with my yarn more, so I've gone kind of mental and knit with loads of my own yarn. It's chromatic yarns. It is a sturdy sock set, so you get a 20-gram mini skein and a 100-gram full skein, and it is in the Dancing Lights colourway, which is a cantrip by cantrip in Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's a cantrip, might be a spell, where you can cast light orbs that like move with you. Because I always envision the orbs to be this kind of tealy colour. Mario disagrees with me, but he's wrong. So, so it's just a really fun. I'll show you the back so you can see it better. So it's just a really fun turquoisey teal colour with speckles of purple and black. And I almost said orange because that's what my brain does. If you've been watching here a while, you will know that I get orange and purple mixed up. And when I see purple, I want to say orange and vice versa. And then yeah, just a little purple mini to go along with it. But yes, it's a super sweet sock pattern. I really enjoy it. I need to get back to knitting these because I haven't knit them in a while now. But stitch marker making has become a priority, but now I've only got 3 more different lots to make, which is still a good chunk of stitch mark. It's still 65 stitch markers I've got left to bead, but I've got till mid-June, so I'm okay about it now. I originally wanted 32 varieties of stitch marker for the shows that I've got coming up, and then yesterday was like, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. So I'm going to do 16 instead, and I think that makes a lot more sense. So let's have a break from the chromatic yarn show for a hot second. When I unravelled my sexy boob jumper, I was kind of empty and lost because my knitting was all gone and I didn't know what to do. So I cast on a hat. And my hat is living in this very cute bag that was sent to me by Eve, who is sometimes joins me on live streams in the chat. You may recognise her as the Cornwall Crafter, I believe. But she said a while ago that she wanted to send me a bag, and I said thanks. And then I got it in the post, and it is so beautiful and beautifully made. She thinks she wants to start selling them, and I think she should. Because it's beautifully made and it's got my hair on it, and it's got like gold metallic-y through it, and the purples and the blues is just me in a bag, and plus the yellow zip coordinates beautifully with my exploding TARDIS bag that Bernadette of the Coffee and Craft podcast made for me, which is what my Loch Ness socks are living in. Yes. So I am knitting a hat. I am using Dusty Dimples yarns, the yarn that I got at Unravel, that she so needlessly gifted. It is a gorgeous mint colour with speckles. It's on her 75-25 superwash merino and nylon, which looks to be a high twist. It is a sock weight, as I said, a 4-ply. And it is in the Nelly Pot colour, I believe. The label's downstairs, I should really keep it in the bag. The hat pattern that I am knitting is the Crosshatch hat, which is a pattern by Riza Knits on Instagram. Cassandra Rizzardi, I believe is her name. I'm very sorry if I have butchered the pronunciation of it. I went wrong on one of the rows, and then I just completely did the stitch wrong. So the crosshatch look of it isn't as, but I don't mind. The rest of it I think I've done right. So it just gives this really cool textured crosshatch effect. And yeah, I'm just going with this now. I've done the first lot of dense crosshatch, and I'm now on the slightly more spread out crosshatch, and then I've got to go back and do some more dense crosshatching. I'm using 3.25mm higher sharps. When I say needles, I am always using higher sharps unless I say otherwise, because I don't actually own needles by any other maker. I am told many times how controlled I am with the amount of cast-ons that I have and works in progress that I have in one go, but actually it's just because I don't have that many needle sets, so I can't cast many stuff on. I'm so good at English, oh my god. But yeah, I'm really excited for this hat. I think it will look super cute. But yeah, it's just a nice crosshatch pattern. And I want to finish it because I want it off the needles, because one, I want to wear it. And two, Christy, who is Yarn Cafe Creations and half of the girls in the Yarn Cafe, has released a ton of hat patterns that are in names influenced by places they went in Edinburgh. So I want to knit some of them, and they're all DK weight, so they knit so much quicker. But yeah, really enjoying it. Very intuitive of a knit, like once you learn what the stitches are and once you realise that you went really wrong. I self-corrected. It's fine. It's because I was knitting it and then I put it down, went to Edinburgh, I was knitting other things, and then came back and was like, oh, I kind of need to knit that hat again. And then was knitting it, and then all of a sudden I was doing the stitch wrong because over a week had passed since I last knit it. But I had a bit of a spontaneous cast on all the things party after ripping out my sexy boob jumper. So the main beast of a project that I was working on whilst in Edinburgh was a new So Faded jumper. This is living in my Emerald Fibres bag, which is my favourite to use of all time, and I'm really sad that she is not selling anymore because I love these bags, but I get it, I have two of them. This one needs a wash. I have two of them. This is my favourite of the two. This is the one I gravitate towards out of the two of them. I really might have to message her and ask if she fancies making me a one-off one in black with some kind of D20 on the front, because that would be awesome. But she doesn't sell anymore, so who knows. So when my sexy boob jumper didn't work, I decided to just go balls to the wall and cast on another So Faded, because that's the logical thing to do. So this is also all using chromatic yarns. Literally, how does my hair get in so many places? I'm really sorry if you receive yarn from me and there's just like hair in it. I try so hard, but I don't understand how it happens. I just molt so much. So yes, this is all out of chromatic yarns. So I cast this on the Wednesday going down, and I managed to get almost fully through colour 2 before getting the train back, so that's quite impressive. So this is all on my sturdy sock base, which is my BFL nylon blend that I've talked about before. So the top is Ice Mage, which is like a very pale silver colour with speckles. Oh, it's so pale it kind of looks bluish. That could also be because there's blue next to them. With like teals and turquoises, and yes, that was a suggestion for the colourway on my last video, so thank you very much for that, or on my last podcast video, sorry, so thank you very much for that suggestion. Ice Mage, I didn't look it up to see if it was a thing. I'm just going to assume it is a mage that uses cold based magic, because that makes the most sense. Yes, so Ice Mage. And then we've got Ice Dragon Wormling, so like a baby ice dragon. This was part of my winter collection, and I love this colour, and it fades really nicely in. And then right at the bottom which is a bit more of a harsh transition, but I think still works, is Mero. And they are evil merfolk, although technically mermaids are evil anyway because they lure sailors to their death, but Mero are like particularly evil merfolk. And yeah, I'm just on the last colour. I need to measure and see how much more I've got before I get onto the bottom ribbing. But I'm desperate to finish this because I want to cast on more jumpers. But I really want to finish this and have it as a show sample for the 2 shows that I've got coming up this year, which is quite exciting. Yes, I think it's fading very nicely. I want to make some fade kits of these 3 colours. So yes, this is the So Faded sweater by Andrea Mowry, I forgot to say. It is a top-down raglan jumper with some garter stitch happening on the very tops of the sleeves and then goes down into stocking stitch. It's knit all in one, in the round, so you don't have to worry about sewing anything together, which is always nice. Very convenient travel knitting once you separate the arms, and then you can just go round and round and round like a giant sock. I am knitting this on 3.75mm needles, and you go down for the ribbing. I'm knitting the 42 inch burst. Yes. And I've made one before and managed to get it with 3 skeins of yarn, which is good. So where I faded it was for the first one anyway, because then you can just kind of make it up for the next ones. But the first one I got to just underneath where you separate for the arms and then start striping in colour 2. And then I think I maybe knit about 7 inches from the top of the striping down before striping in colour 3. And I will probably do 3/4 length sleeves because I wear my So Faded so much. I can always then rip out the sleeves and knit longer ones if I really want to, but I probably won't. And yes, I just really like it. And I've got a little, made a little Easter chick. And so my little Easter chick came to Edinburgh with me. He received a lot of love, so thank you everyone very much. And yeah, I'm now just breezing through the body. I'm so almost done. I could get this done. I'm going to a wedding next week in the south, so this could come with me and I could be knitting this in the car. Easy peasy, get it done. Although now I don't have as many stitch markers to make, I can actually knit in the evenings again. God, I've missed it so much. When I say that I've been working myself too hard, it's not like a... That was me playing a tiny violin, by the way. It's not one of those scenarios. It's just a eternal feeling of guilt whenever I'm not working, because I want... Okay. No shop update this week. So, I have 2 shows coming up in the summer. And I'm also getting married in November. But I've got 2 shows coming up in the summer. One is in June, one is in July. I originally wanted to make 32 varieties of stitch marker, 15 of each. As in 15 stitch markers of each variety, so 15 dragons. As in like 15 purple dragons, 15 blue dragons, 15 white sheep, 15 black sheep, 15... Anyway, except for popular things like hedgehogs, and I got 20 of those. Just so I knew that I would hopefully have some left over between the first show and second show, so I could just add to it instead of having to start from scratch. But then last night when I couldn't sleep, I was laying there and I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to make 32. I managed it for Nottingham Yarn Expo, but I only made 10 of each for Nottingham Yarn Expo, and those extra 5 are a huge difference. And for about, I don't know, 12-ish of those 32, I only made 5 of each. So I think I'm actually I did some maths. I think I'm actually beading overall the exact same number of stitch markers I did for the first show as I am for this one. Just a smaller selection, and that's fine, because it's just, it's a bit of like a mental strain. Like, I've not even started dyeing yarn for them yet, and I really need to. So tomorrow I'm going to start dyeing yarn for it, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, I just couldn't let myself, if that makes sense, because I would just feel eternal guilt. And plus I've got the driest hands in the world once more. When I'm gonna stop beading, it will start peeling and going gross. Very attractive. But yeah, I've decided 16 varieties is actually plenty and probably less overwhelming. As in for customers as well as for myself. So I'm on the final stretch of them, which is such a relieving feeling. Something that my friend Emma, who has an amazing craft blog, by the way, Make and Fable, and makes gorgeous sterling silver jewellery because she's incredible at silversmith. I messaged her and expressed my woes. And she said to me that a phrase that she is saying to herself quite a lot right now is, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And that is a very good point. The world is my lobster, as my dad would say. But there is also a limit as to how much I can do. I was feeling guilty for taking a day off. How many people do you know that have like that aren't self-employed, work non-stop and then feel guilty, or once they're home from work, once their work hours are over, they can just keep working? How many, you know? Like last week, I was sat on the sofa for 15 hours. Well, I was sat there from 6 AM till 11 PM. So what's that? 17 hours technically in total, but I paused for cooking dinner, eating dinner, blah blah blah. But I was beading that whole time, which was great because I actually felt super motivated. But my hand the next day, I was like, that's not normal. Working from 6 AM till 11 PM is not a normal work shift. I mean, I got 37 stitch markers made, so it was a new personal best. Worth it. But was it? No. I feel like I'm complaining about being self-employed. I'm not. Please understand that I'm not complaining, because I love it with all of my heart. This is just me lecturing myself and telling myself to not be so hard on myself. And that it's okay sometimes to stop and film a podcast, to knit for a bit, to do this. Because that's the other reason I haven't been filming podcasts, because once I've filmed them and I've talked for eons, I then have to edit all of the talking. And I usually have to have knitting to talk about. So yeah, that's why I've been putting off podcasts. But I'm glad I'm back. I've missed it. And now I can knit more. I can podcast again. I'm so excited. Anyway, sorry for that side rant. I didn't mean it to sound... Hopefully it didn't come across as sounding too lectury, because that was not my intention. In related news, I would like to, as in shop news, I would like to say a massive, massive thank you so much to everyone that shopped in my Edinburgh Yarn Festival shop update and used the discount code and treated themselves to some goodies. It was undeniably my best shop update to date. Yeah, that did make sense. And I was blown away. And which is why my shelf is empty. So thank you so much for your support. And the real reason I actually did it then was because Mario and I want to buy a house, and the end of the financial year was on Saturday. And when you're self-employed, you have to give your last 2 years of the average of your last 2 years of income, and then whereas if you're regularly employed, you just have to give the last 3 months of income. So I had to give my last 2 years of income, so I did that cheeky sale and shop update so I could boost it so I could get a better mortgage. I hope that's okay. You're gonna help me get a nicer house. Thanks. Because the house next door's up for sale and it's dirt cheap, but I don't want to live here anymore. I think that's everything I have to say. Pretty sure it is. Yeah. I need a nap. I had a driving lesson today. Driving's going all right. I'm really bad at it. I had to talk to my driving instructor as I was driving along today. I was like, people keep asking me how my driving lessons are going, and I keep telling them that it's going okay. I'm just a very slow learner because I'm old now. I mean, I'm not old, I'm 28, so it's not like I'm like, you know, in my 90s, which is very impressive if you are. But because my grandma's in her 90s and she's never used a computer. But I am older than many people learning to drive. And I said, I think what the problem is now I'm old is that I'm a lot more cautious than I would have been at 17. And he confirmed that in fact 17-year-olds are a little bit reckless with driving. But it probably means they learn a bit quicker because it just takes me a while to like get anything because I'm so scared of actually being in a car crash, which is a fun thing to admit. Final shout out, I just want to say thank you to Meg of Bad Wolf Girl Sits and Knits for getting me into lip colour. This isn't any that she's recommended. I have used some that she recommended. The Maybelline Matte Ink, I believe she recommended, and they are very good. This is a Revlon something or other. It's more of a tint, and I really like it. But because she recommended them to me, I got those and I started to wear lip colour, and then Mary was like, ooh, I quite like you with lip colour. I'm like, I like me with lip colour too. So I think I want to get into lip colour a little bit more. And plus these are, I find these are, if you want more information about if you want me to do more makeup talk, let me know, but I don't want to get into it too much. These are a bit easier to apply, which is great. I wore it on, not this colour, I wore the same thing on Saturday when I was drinking from 3 till 10. I thought these days were behind me. But anyway, I am going to stop talking because I'm talking out of my ass. Dee-dee-dee, ba-da-la-da. So yeah, thank you to everyone who came up to say hi at EYF. Thank you for all of the love on Caroline's incredible video, The Spare Stitch Project. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and check out Caroline's channel. She has done it. And we did a video when we had been drinking. At that point I was two-sided. It's not quite as bad as End of the Night Hannah. It's okay. But that was a lot of fun. So much fun. Oh my god, I'm so excited for EYF next year already. Mum really liked EYF too. I should have filmed more with her. I didn't want to keep shoving the camera in her face because she's not been on my YouTube channel before, so I didn't want to like pressure her. But I really want to finish that jumper so I can cast on my no frills. This beauty. I'm so excited. So excited. Oh my god, it's so soft. As well as all of these other things. Like these socks and these socks. Oh, I didn't share these. So this is a technical acquisition. I did a kit with Helen of Giddy Yarns, who I also saw at EYF. So hi Helen. And yes, she has currently a cupcake sock club, which is like the coolest thing ever. So when she was like, okay, you may not know, but before I settled on dyeing D&D yarn, I was going to dye cake inspired yarn. It was going to be called the Yarn Cakery, and it was going to be the best thing ever. And then I changed my mind to do D&D yarns. So, but yes, she has the cupcake sock club, and I made some stitch markers for her, And my theme that I mean, she sent out a list of themes and I tried to make sure I sent an email back really quickly, so I got the one I wanted. It's only so much you can bead. I went for strawberry and vanilla cupcake, so you got a little beaded strawberry, it's got a little flower on it, it's very cute. And I believe this was March's, so everyone should have it by now, so I'm not going to bother with a spoiler. So she is Giddy Yarns, and this is on her 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. 425 meters per 100 grams. So yeah, this is strawberry and vanilla cupcake. So in her sock clubs you get a skein of yarn and a mint coordinating mini, and then you also get a little extra from someone, be it a little, like a little notions pouch or stitch markers, or you know, that kind of thing. It's a different person each month. And then she also sends you a recipe card with a recipe on. So downstairs, with all of our baking stuff, I have a recipe card to make strawberry and vanilla cupcakes. So I will definitely will be making those and tasting those and eating those and enjoying those, even though I'm meant to be losing weight. But yes, I just love how this actually looks like strawberry jam is just strewn through it. It's incredible. But yeah, I believe she's got April or May's sign-ups up now, and that's an Earl Grey lemon, Earl Grey something cupcake theme. So that should be beautiful too. Although you all know my opinion on Earl Grey. I'm just not a fan of the tea. It's not that I judge, you know, anyone for drinking it. It's just a personal preference. It's not my thé du choix, you know. Check out that French accent. Can you tell that I did French as a degree? No, I didn't think so. Right, now actually I'm gonna go, because this is gonna take me like 2 hours to edit. Thanks, B. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast. It was so lovely catching up with you all. I hope that you feel the same. I'm probably gonna now go and finish my cold tea. If you'd like to follow me on social media, please feel free. Links can all be found in the description box below. We do also have a podcast group. It is the Corner of Craft podcast. I didn't say it at the top, so if you stuck around this long, now you know. And there should be, hopefully, potentially show notes in that podcast group. If you were... I think that's everything actually. Yep. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!